My name is Chris Austin with Country Thunder America, and I'm here with Thomas Gabriel.
Hello.
Hello, Thomas. How are you?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm fantastic. Hey, I've had a lot of friends ask me, hey, who the hell is this Thomas Gabriel guy that you keep posting about? And you know what? I figured, the best way to do this is just, go to the man directly and say, hey, Thomas, I got some questions for you.
Right.
All right. Thomas, give me your background.
Let's see. My mother is Johnny's second daughter, Johnny and Vivian's second daughter. Got Roseanne, Kathy, which is my mom, Cindy, Tara. And I came along. My mother was 16 when she had me, so she was young. And that was in Ventura, California. And around 2 years old or so, we moved to Tennessee to be with my grandfather. And from then on, I toured a lot with his road crew, and actually from about, well, I won't say what year, but from about 4 or 5 years old on till I was about 19.
That you were touring with them.
Right.
Nice. So what made you decide to go and grab a guitar and do this on your own, and instead of just, watching what was going on, and you have a regular job and you're doing your thing, and what made you say, hey, I'm going to grab a guitar and I'm going to try this out?
Actually, I worked for my grandfather through high school, just doing odds and ends around the house and his office, and and then when we were in town and all that, otherwise I was just basically riding on the bus. But it's kind of like if you grow up in that kind of family. I mean, my Aunt Roseanne was by the time I came along, my Aunt Roseanne was popular when I was a kid. My grandpa, my aunt was married. My Aunt Cindy was married to Marty Stewart. I was always around the music business, so it wasn't really a matter of if, it was a matter of when. For me anyway.
What's your favorite color?
Favorite color? I know black isn't a color; it's a shade. But I'd say dark blue, like a royal blue.
Favorite food?
Favorite food, sushi.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
All right. Favorite place you've been to on this planet?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would say Ireland.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, you just got some crap news.
Yeah, the COVID-19 virus has shut most of the, well, not just entertainment, but most of all businesses down, really. So we were supposed to be going to Ireland in April, and that got canceled. And then everything for right now is pushed back until summer. So right now we're not doing a whole lot of touring. We're going to still do a couple of the acoustic gigs. Me and Derek Toa. We've got a new album coming out, which they've postponed that as well. But we've got the single coming out. I want to say the 27th of April.
Well, we saw the video. Some people have seen the video. We'll be releasing it along with this video as well.
Oh, good.
Tell me about the video.
Video was filmed.
What's the song?
Oh, it's Right Side of the Dirt. It's the first single on the album.
Who wrote it?
Myself, Derek Toa, Mike Little, and Big Al Sostrin. So we sat in here one day and we're messing around and came out with that song we really liked. So we put a video to it. It's filmed between Hendersonville and Bon Aqua.
Tell me about the locations. What were the locations to you and the video?
Well, the locations were between my grandfather's gravesite in Hendersonville, my grandmother, or my step-grandmother, and my grandpa. They're buried there in Hendersonville. And then the rest of the video was shot here in Bon Aqua, Tennessee. So it was on my grandpa's farm. It was on his property. Some of the shoots. So
Now I got to be there for that.
yeah,
I got to see one of the most amazing sights that I'm going to say that I've ever seen was you being put into 12-degree water.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There was that was a little. I was surprised I didn't get sick on that one. It was freezing cold. Yeah, that's. If you see when you see the video, know that was one of the hardest shoots because it was hard not to shiver while it's being filmed.
But you weren't in there for too long. But
No, not too long.
there's definitely a lot of outtake photos for
Yeah,
for that one. Yeah, for sure.
Of-
You flipping fingers, little shrinkage. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So going forward with the new album, what is compared to some of the songs that some of the other people have heard you do? They've heard you cover some of your granddad's songs.
Right.
What is going to be the big difference on this album compared to some of the stuff they may have already heard that you?
Well, our last album was mainly just me. It was mainly just a lot of. I had been to prison. It was a timeline from childhood until then, and it's a lonely album. It's not got a whole lot of happy songs on it by any means, but this one here is it's more of a we've been on the road for 2 years now, and I've watched the evolution of some of the songs that we've had turn into not my songs as much as band songs, and having the great players that I've had, they've turned into something I enjoy more than I did in the beginning. So this next album, I made it more of a band album. I wanted more input. It was from these, like Derek. He knows so much more about music, and he just makes me look like an idiot. I'm just a singer, So it's like I just walk in and sing, But so now that we've got a lot more band input, it's more instrumental. It's more upbeat, and a few surprises on it. I'm excited about it.
Do you say you're evolving kind of how your grandfather's music evolved? So you have the songs which are the more painful, and then you have the more upbeat, cheery style, or it's just more upbeat?
I won't say cheery.
Right.
Not all of the. I mean, I find it hard to write cheery, but I don't know why that is. But because life is great right now, and so I don't want it to reflect on now. But it's as far as the mood goes, this is the best I've ever had it, and some of the lyrics are still dark and all, but it is more upbeat. It's way more instrumental, and a lot of sweat has gone into it.
You've told me a lot of stories about crashing boats and sinking boats, and then having to talk to Grandpa and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you told me those stories, and all the different crazy things that you've done way back in the day. But those stories are, some of them are better left behind doors, I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah.
What is the one thing that if you could go back and say just a couple words to anybody who, like, in your craziest moment, whether it be an apology or a thank you, your choice on this one, if it was an apology or a thank you, what would be the one moment, not a big long story, but just that one moment that you can kind of remember off the top of your head? Either I want to say thank you or I want to say sorry.
Yeah, I back to my grandfather on that one. It's kind of a both. There was a lot of things that he did, a lot of things that he said, a lot of things that at the time I did not understand. I thought it was, some of the things were just a bit much, or he was being too strict, but some of his decisions on the road especially, and nowadays I absolutely get it. And I would love to be able to go back and say, hey, not only, sorry for not believing, that, because I was smarter than everybody, but, when you're growing up, I think we all are, but saying, thank you for shown me that way that I didn't understand until recently. And sorry I didn't take heed of it then, you know.
Yep.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things. I think about it all the time, going down the road and just you know, nerves and anxiety sometimes. I mean, I don't get nervous before stage or anything. I'm just talking about like everybody that's out there with you is depending on you, you know, and it just dawned on me, you know, when we first hit the road, started hitting the road hard and heavy. Was wow, you know. Sometimes when I thought he was just being in a bad mood or being standoffish or whatever, he just had a lot on his mind, you know.
Your grandfather's music is legacy music. It's the music that he could have sang it when he was 20. He could have sang it when he was 60.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the songs he sang, they basically stood the test of time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where is your music, and where are you at in 20 years?
Wow.
What is your projection? 20
Well,
years.
the thing about first of all, you know, and let me start with this. You know, everybody's like, well, maybe he's trying to sound like his grandfather. Maybe he's trying to. That I'm not. Matter of fact, I tried for years not to sound like him. But there's only going to be one man in black, that's for sure. I am definitely not that man.
But I wasn't going with that.
No,
but
I'm going to start there because I'm going to say, you know, part of his legacy was also who he was and the man he was, you know, lived every day. And, you know, he was into politics and spirituality, religion. He was an author. He was an actor. He was just a great guy. Everywhere he went, you know, he was the same person all the time. And, you know, it reflected in all of his music. There was a time when it was, you know, when it didn't reflect really who he was. I don't think that in the middle of his career, like the 80s and all, you know, 70s, 80s. But I think that he definitely made up for that in the 90s and 2000s, you know, early 2000s. But being who he was and how he did things and how he went through life after, you know, he woke up, I think that's what's made him, you know, I see 4-year-old kids all the time in my audience that are singing every word and know them better than me.
Right.
You know, because I screw up words all the time. Me, you know, I got a much later start. You know, I don't have his wisdom. I don't have his, I don't have a lot of the qualities that he had that, you know, I'm just a singer, whereas he was more of like I don't even know, man. He just had this charisma about him that.
You think that you'll jump into that acting world and you'll start doing some of the other stuff in time?
There's been some talks about it. I just don't see myself on that level as he was, you know. But I do hope that my music does sustain and it lasts for longer than me. You know, he said, you know, 3 or 4 months after I'm gone, everybody's gonna forget I was even here. He's bigger now than he's ever been. You know, I just can't picture that with me. But you know, I mean, God does some tremendous things. You know, I mean, I'm here. You know, and I never ever, you know, thought I would still be here. To be honest with you.
Last thing, I know that there is a documentary coming out, and it covers a pretty dark topic. Yeah. I don't know the whole thing yet, but I have, you know, kind of watched a quick little previews of it.
It's really good. And
from the looks of it, from the trailers that I've seen, it looks phenomenal. You want to tell me just a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. It's about it's called The Long Road Home. And it's about my family and focuses mainly just only on the addiction. You know, my family's been plagued with addiction. I only can think of one cousin I know that had some sort of chemical dependency. And it's got me in it. It's got Mark Cash. It's got my Uncle Tommy Cash in it. It's got my Aunt Joanne. It's got my Aunt Cindy. It's got a bunch of us in there just coming right out with it and just saying exactly how things were, what happens now, how things are now, but how things work every day, you know. And it's a really, yeah, you're right. It's a really powerful. I've seen it. It's not even totally polished yet, but I've seen it twice already, and didn't keep a dry eye to either one. I'm proud of my participation in it. It's a Brian Oxley and Sally Oxley film, and if you've ever seen any of their films, they're phenomenal. I can't wait to see the finished product, but yeah, I think it's something that everybody needs to hear, because there's so many of us walking around all the time, dealing with the same things. You know, I don't care if you're, you know, anywhere from homeless to in the castle. You know, it's for everybody. It doesn't just, you know, addiction is something that most of us are plagued with. You know, it seems like. I won't say most, because somebody would be mad at me for saying that, but most people I know. How's that? You know, you know, I think my dog even is. But
Sleeping dog.
yeah, I'm excited about it coming out. I really am. I think it'll be a Netflix thing.
Nice. Well, everybody can find you pretty much anywhere if they just search Thomas Gabriel.
ThomasGabrielOfficial.com.
And then he's on all the social medias and all that fun kind of stuff. I'm going to post the video along with this, along with some other photos that, you know, being your friend and walking around and seeing some of the coolest photos on the planet that most people would shit themselves if they would see. You know, one of course is, you know, we said on the table is, you know,
Little Thomas.
What happened? You looked so cute back then.
Yeah, what happened? My head's still that round.
You know, and
this, of course, is my grandmother. This is my grandmother Vivian, and actually, my brother just produced a documentary on her, solely her and her side of things, and that should be out extremely soon as well. So look for that, and it's called I think it's My Darling Vivian. Don't hold me to it, but I think it's My Darling Vivian, and it's.
Is that based off the book? Is that based off the book about her?
No, not solely. Not solely. It does mention it, but it's supposed to be phenomenal. I haven't been allowed to watch it yet, but I can't wait to see it, because she definitely deserves the credit. But and then of course the other documentary is coming out. But yeah, thanks, man. I've had a really good time. I love interviews.
Yeah, you know what, and you know, with this one, we're going to be sharing it all throughout a few of our friends in Australia, Canada, Germany, and
right.
we know a couple people around the world, and I know you do too. So I'll be sharing it to your page. You'll be able to send it out to your friends and fans as well. Good deal. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
See you then.
Life can bring you down. It can make you hurt. Then you open your eyes again. You're on the right side of the dirt. On the right side of the dirt. Earth alone is forgiving, much more than we deserve. Water drowns, fire will burn. Life's a sentence we all serve. Covers up our damage when the body's had too much. Bring forth our Christian name. It's on the right side of the dirt. On on the right side of the dirt. 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 Ashes will be ashes, bones turn to dust. Then we meet our maker, before the gate slams shut. How do you look yourself in the mirror? How do you say your name? How do you smile looking at your own children when you know you're the one they blame? Life can bring you down. It can make you hurt.